of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and today we will end speaking about the Gopal Champu describing the state of mind of Radharani when Uddhava came to Vrindavan, which is the state of mind that Mahaprabhu was always absorbed in during the last part of his life in Jagannath Puri. And we have been speaking over the last two lectures about this topic already, and because it's long, because it's beautiful, we want to continue and add a little bit more details. So that will be again very beautiful today. Om Jnanatimirandasya Ganam Janam Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Zwayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swaparantakam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Hari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyari Parshatari Shatari. We like to offer always these Mangala Charana prayers because who are we really to even speak about Krishna? What to say about speaking very deep and secret things about him? We don't have really power. So we pray to our Acharyas, Rupa Goswami, the Panchatattva, Srila Prabhupada and Radha Krishna, that they just utilize us as a small instrument by giving us the intelligence and inspiration to understand and speak whatever they want to share with the world and with their devotees. And for our own purification, Apana Shodite, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, he is writing for his own purification, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. If he is writing for his own purification, then the only thing we can do if we speak is to speak for our own purification also. And it's very purifying. Who is speaking should never think that he is great, otherwise subtly his speech will be contaminated by this idea, and that makes the speech lose its power. It's a very subtle thing, devotion. We can speak about devotion, but if we are not properly situated in devotion ourselves, that speak may be intellectually interesting, but it will not be very potent to awaken love and devotion in the heart of the others. Whereas if we really feel fallen and we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, Mahaprabhu, Rupa, and Sanatan, and all Acharyas, and Mahaprabhu and Radhishyam, then we can be utilized, and then something really deep and beautiful will happen by their touch, not by our own touch. But if we think we are good, then we don't allow their touch to come in that exchange, so we lose the magic of it. So that's very important to always remember. Even Shukadev Goswami recited some Mangala Charanam before answering Maharaj Parikshit. So we still about this verse. Shri Radhikara Chistayena Udavadara Shani Hemata Dasha Prabhur Oya Tridine. I had learned that verse many years ago, and then I had forgotten it. Forgotten it because I just had forgotten that it was existing. But now that I'm reading it for a few days again and again, it came back to my memory very easily. And I'm happy to remember first its existence and then also to remember it by heart. The most important is always to grasp the inner meaning rather than just memorizing the words, but memorizing the words can be helpful. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's state of mind, day and night, was practically identical to Radharani's state of mind when Uddhava came to Vrindavan to see the gopis. And we were yesterday with Uddhava and the gopis, and Uddhava was speaking to them, telling them the message of Krishna. And the gopis were coming to the point where they understood that Krishna is telling us to meditate upon him because actually he wants to divert our mind from our feeling of separation. He's speaking of meditation in order to stop our mind from thinking of separation. That was Krishna's idea. If they meditate upon me, then they're not more absorbed in thinking about separation. But that was not enough for them. The gopis' love is ultimate, so they're never satisfied with something which is a little bit less than ultimate. And even if it is, because Krishna's words are also extremely wonderful, they have full right to make it insufficient for them, because that's another dynamic of pure love. Pure love always is like a raging fire who always need more fuel to grow. So it's never a fault in pure love to ask more, because it's not asking more out of bad desire, but it's asking more out of the desire to increase the love and to increase the experience of Krishna, to increase Krishna's love and the love that Krishna feels within his heart. All this is a service attitude. So Uddhava then recited another verse to the gopis. And every verses, Jiva Goswami said that Uddhava would repeat 3 times every verse. Like this, the gopi, they would hear it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, so that they can try to really understand it. And as we will see tonight, sometime he would repeat it 3 times, and then every time they understand it more and more deeply, because they think about it. That's how we have to study when we read. We should not just read and go and fly above the Bhagavatam or the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We should stop on each verse and read it properly, feel it, think about it, try to catch it, his mood, his impression. And then when we understand something more than our first eye contact with it, then we can proceed to the next verse. So Uddhava then told them this beautiful verse from Krishna, which is still part of Krishna's message to the gopis. But the actual reason why I, the beloved object of your sight, have stayed far away from you is that I wanted to intensify your meditation upon me, and thus draw your minds closer to me. When her lover is far away, a woman thinks of him more than when he is present before her. So now Krishna is explaining. He said that's the real reason why I have stayed far away from you. I could have come back. Of course, Krishna could have come back. But I decided to stay far away because I wanted to intensify your meditation upon me. Because I knew that if I intensify your meditation upon me, then your minds will come closer to me. Because when her lover is far away, a woman thinks of him more than when he is present before her. So Krishna thought, actually, if I am present before them, they think of me, they're absorbed in me, but not enough. Or, I could not say not enough, but there is a way they could be more absorbed even in me, that could intensify their love. So if Krishna knows that, Krishna always goes for the sake of love. So he will choose what is painful for him, what is painful for the devotees, if this will increase love. Because he knows that ultimately love is the most beautiful reality, and everything which is done for the most beautiful cause will end up to be most beautiful actually. Krishna knows that. So he decided to stay far away in order to intensify their love. That's what he told them. Hearing the first time this verse, the gopis thought in their heart, he means the reason why I am far from your eyes, though I love you, is that I have a desire that you meditate on me continuously, because of there being no possibility of seeing me. I want you to meditate upon me continuously because there was no possibility to see me, so you have to stay continuously in meditation about me. That's what he must mean. In this situation, your minds will become absorbed in me, just like a woman thinks of a man when he is far away. This also means that I become absorbed in you also by being far away. Naturally, love is two-sided. So if they feel the separation and the only way, because there is absolutely no option to see Krishna, is to meditate upon him and absorb more their mind in him and then come closer to him, then he also feels that separation and will have to absorb in his mind. Like that, you mean that like this we will become closer. Therefore, he wants us to absorb our mind in him rather than prevent our mind from doing so. It's not that he doesn't want our mind to be absorbed in him. He wants our mind to be more absorbed in him. Oh, so why does he say this? Because for us, even a moment without his association is like 100 ages. Were our mind not already absorbed in him? So they bring it further. Okay, that's a very beautiful reflection of love, which is emanating from Krishna's heart. They understood the beauty of it, but then they thought, but our mind was already completely absorbed in it, isn't it? So it doesn't make sense. He must be willing to say something else. But the proof is that even a moment without his association seems like hundreds of ages for us. So it's the proof that we were already completely absorbed in him. Then Uddhava repeated the verse again, and then they meditated again on the meaning. So this is a very beautiful scene. Radha is there in the middle, the gopis are around, and Uddhava is explaining, and they are in this isolated place. They are extremely beautiful, even though their bodies and appearance are marked by the intensity of separation they have been going through, and they don't look externally so much how to say, cared. They didn't look, it didn't seem that they were caring very much about their external appearance. They looked quite externally neglected, disheveled. Their saris were torn in some places because falling too much on the ground, but still they were very beautiful. Yes, as I was saying, if you have a very beautiful girl and she becomes somehow or other dirty by dust, or her dress becomes torn, or some dirt comes on her face, still she remains beautiful. That will not make her ugly. Actually, she will beautify that, and that will become a greater decoration upon her. That will manifest a particular beauty, like when Krishna comes back in the evening from herding the cows, all the dust from the cows' hooves fly in the air because they're walking. That creates a dust cloud. So Krishna becomes covered with dust. But Shukadeva Goswami mentions that this makes him even more beautiful. Even more beautiful. Because that's the nature of Krishna's body. He beautifies everything that comes in contact with him. So the gopis, they have the same quality. And so when all these things happen to them, whatever their external appearance may come to be, everything, the dust, or the lack of care will actually become an ornament upon them, and that they will beautify that, and by their beauty they will beautify the dust, so the dust becomes as beautiful as them. This is called, I think, this is called Rupa. There are 5 aspects of transcendental beauty of the gopis: Lavanya, Rupa, Madhurya. I forgot all of them, but one is Rupa, I think, and Rupa has the effect that whatever comes in contact with them acquires their own beauty. So when dust falls upon them, that dust becomes as beautiful as them, and it gives them a very special ornamentation. They look very beautiful like this. Even when they are disheveled, the way they are disheveled becomes extremely beautiful. Even can look more beautiful than when they are nicely combed. Or let's say it's a variation, but not only a variation, because everything increases every second, so it must be increasing. And then if they comb again, that will be again more beautiful. That's how it happens. And the fact that their sari becomes torn or soiled is also a decoration that gives them some kind of beauty that had never been seen before. Very special beauty, and they are there. They're shining through their paleness. They look pale, they look sad, they look really overburdened by this separation that's actually burning them alive from inside. Mahaprabhu said this is like burning on a slow fire, the fire of separation from Krishna. So they have all this, their lips are cracked, but that makes their lips more beautiful. So they become super beautiful, and their radiance, even though it looks shadowed, less than usual, still that gives a special beauty to their radiance, and that makes actually their inner radiance to shine even stronger. So that's a very beautiful darshan. Their bangles look too big for them now because they became much skinnier. And you know, when you go through these things, also the form of your face and your body also changes. So all this creates some very, very unique beauty, and the feeling in which they are also creates a very special atmosphere. It's a very wonderful setting with Uddhava, and there is separation, but at the same time this is something new, you know, for days and days and so long time they have been going through that separation, and now at least it's like there is a special wave of meeting that's coming up to them, because Uddhava is coming from Krishna. So there is something starting to happening. Even though that cannot uproot them from their feeling of separation, this is something, and it's doing something slowly, slowly. And that creates a very beautiful atmosphere, extremely sweet, though very, very tragic at the same time, extremely sweet. And Uddhava is there, and Uddhava is certainly beautified by their presence, and Uddhava realizes from the beginning that, wow, this is my greatest fortune to be here. Krishna gave me the greatest gift, and I'm gonna try to do my best to serve the situation, but I'm also going to do my best to imbibe their association. So Uddhava is also becoming more beautiful, and is completely fascinated by their beauty and their love. So then Uddhava said the verse a second time, and they meditated and they say, oh, okay, the real meaning is, because of thinking of me with your mind, I will become visible to you. That's what he means. This is his intention. I will directly appear in two ways. First, there is entrance into the mind, by some kind of vision, like in a waking state. Like when there is a direct sight by the eyes, like we look at something and that vision we have of something becomes interfered by the mind, as in a dream state, and someone look at something but actually in his mind he's seeing something else, and you may do this in front and you will not notice because there is a picture. The mind created a picture that's actually covering his external sight. So they say that's the first way Krishna will enter into our mind, by interfering with the eyes like this and appear in our mind. While in Raj, I appeared in the first way, in that way. And now, being in Mathura, I appear in the second way. When the mind produces the image, it is like a dream, but actually it's not a dream, since It is my direct 40. It's not different from me. It's not a dream. Their dreams are not dreams. Their dreams are reality. As real, their dreams are as real as the reality. That's another special aspect of Raj. When they dream, because it's Chit Jagat, is the spiritual world. Even the dreams are spiritual. Spiritual means real. So when they dream, what they see when they dream is as real as what they see when they are awake. So then it's very difficult to find out what is the awakened state and what is the dreaming state. Actually, in Raj it's difficult. That's why in so many pastimes we see there is confusion between the dreaming state and the awakened state. And yeah, and then even when they are, we call this having a daydream, means they have open eye, but then they dream about something, they become too absorbed. What they see is still as real as what is externally perceivable by their eyes. So it's a multiple, how we could say, intertwined reality. Now that's 40, that appearance of mine will appear appropriately. Since I feel embarrassed by the elders, I have visibly gone far away, and my association with you must be hidden. Thinking in this way, I have done this. You should be satisfied with this 40, my internal appearance. This is the way in which one stops the mind from thinking of separation. So they think, oh, that's maybe what Krishna is meaning. Understanding the meaning which brought about meeting with Krishna within, when they understood this meaning, Krishna appeared in their heart, and then they met him. And then they realized, oh, yes, he's there. That's real. It's not a dream. It's as real as when he's here. And now they see this. Wow, it's true. Krishna's words are true. So they became pleased with Uddhava, and they began to speak very sweetly to Uddhava, filled with the highest bliss. During 2 more stars, they worshipped him. Murta is 48 minutes, he was saying. So like for 1 hour and a half, they worshipped Uddhava because now they were seeing Krishna within their heart, and they realized that Krishna's word was true. But unfortunately, after that, gradually they returned to external vision and they began to lament. We do not know actually if we are happy or sad, but what we know is that Kamsa is dead, and that was the cause of our separation. So they're coming back to the reality of separation. It worked, but for some time. So now they ask Uddhava, so, but why does he stay in Mathura? If the affection is for Krishna, that affection is superior to nectar. Affection of a woman for a lover is very sweet. But if that affection is toward Krishna, then that affection is superior to nectar. That's the effect of loving Krishna rather than loving someone else. If you love someone, that's very sweet. Love is very sweet, even materially, they admit. Affection of a woman for a lover is very sweet. But affection for Krishna, that is even superior to nectar. So love Krishna. Don't love anyone else or love anyone else in relationship to Krishna. Therefore we speak to you, please listen. Why does Krishna, whose heart understands the best affection, not show affection to women at all times? Why is doing this? Will he come to us, burning in the summer sun of separation, and show his sweet form made of nectar like the moon? Will he shower us with his limbs like the full moon, just as Indra showers water from clouds on the tender forest? Will he come? So now they're making this beautiful. We can see that even in the most intense pain and tragedy, their speech is like pure nectar. Will he come to us, burning in the summer sun of separation? So we are burning in the summer sun of separation. Summer sun is very intense, like you can't stay under it. You have to go in the shadow because it's hammering your head, your entire body. It's burning you. We are burning in the summer sun of separation. The heat of separation, the intensity of that separation and that sadness is too unbearable. But if he comes with his sweet form, made of nectar like the moon, that will be like a shower of sweetness. His form is made of nectar like the moon. It's so beautiful. His form is made of nectar like the moon, and that will cool our separation. Like Indra showers water from clouds on the tender forest, will he showers us with his limbs like the full moon? So now again they are in separation, but in another mood. I mean, we can see how they shift from one mood to another mood to another mood, and just it escalates like this, higher and higher and higher. It cannot never stop. There is never feeling that becomes stale or static. It's always evolving and becoming more and more beautiful. Sometimes going through one phase, then another phase. Though we want to give up our desire for him, and we have wanted to give up our desire for him for a long time, but this desire binds us up even more tightly at every moment. They want to forget Krishna. They want to stop desiring that Krishna comes back. They understood maybe that's the best way. We don't want him to come back. We want to stop desiring this. We want to stop thinking about him. But they say even if we try that, actually it does the opposite. Our desire to see Krishna and to be with him is just binding us up even more tightly at every moment. That's the gopis' love. Even if they try to stop their love, that love is just binding them more tightly at every moment and just continuing to increase. What can they do? So, and then they said, and particularly his beautiful footprints suddenly split our hearts. When we see these footprints here on the ground, then it breaks our heart. It split our heart into, it's like very painful. Even if we try to forget him, and then our eyes, they will inevitably fall on his footprints somewhere because it's everywhere in Raj. And that vision will split our heart. Our intelligence now cannot but stay in Mathura and cannot be retrieved. Please tell us, by what means can we forget him, even a little? So now they're coming into that consciousness. We want to forget him, but we can't. Our intelligence is just in Mathura. It stays there in Mathura. Our intelligence cannot even come back in our bodies. Our intelligence went there in Mathura knowing that Krishna is there, and our intelligence stays there in Mathura. Tell us how we can forget him. Even for a moment, they're begging Uddhava for a solution now to forget Krishna. Seeing the gopis again thinking of separation from Krishna, Uddhava again read the letter as Krishna had instructed him. By the power of the words, independent like a great mantra, they became pacified. After this, thinking of Krishna and Uddhava as non-different according to Krishna's instruction, free from suffering, they again worshipped Uddhava. So then again, Uddhava read, and then they considered again, because every time you tell them, every time that will also change their mood. He stayed there for several months, going to them every day in the morning like a doctor, destroying disease to make them understand Krishna's instruction. So that was Uddhava's service. He understood they have to stay there longer and continue telling them, reading them again and again and again this letter, telling them Krishna's instruction. That's the only way he could maintain them a little bit out of that burning fire. Developing himself, the highest devotion which manifested in newer and newer ways, he then offered them respect by praising them. So by their association, actually, what happened is that it was actually more beneficial for him, because by going to see them every day, he also started to develop that highest devotion which manifests in newer and newer ways at every moment. He was touched by their level. You see, they're living in Mahabhav, and Mahabhav has no existence outside of Raj, so Uddhava didn't know about that. He never saw that. He had never heard about it, because we know about it because Mahaprabhu came and told us, and Rupa and Satan, and they told us, but I don't know if they know this in the heavenly planets about what is Mahabhav. And I don't know even if Vaikuntha they know about that, and I don't know even if in Dwarka they know about Mahabhav. So, but actually not about the Mahabhav, what we call Adiruddha. Maybe they know about Ruda Mahabhav. I think the queen of Dwarka, they know about Ruda Mahabhav. That's their level of devotion. But Adiruddha Mahabhav, that exists only in Raj, which is the highest level of Mahabhav. It's considered, Adiruddha, it's considered like extremely intense Mahabhav. So then Uddhava glorified them. He said the gopis, they have a prema, they have a pure love that astonishes me completely. What to speak of the gopis, who never rejected giving pleasure to Krishna joyfully, I bow down to the foot dust of all those who are related to the gopis, whose songs concerning Krishna glorified in the whole universe, purified the three worlds along with its leaders. Oh, that's a beautiful verse. Pandenanda Rajostrinam Padarinum Abhikshnasa. Then what it is? Pandenanda Rajostrinam Padarinum Abhikshnasa. I offer my obeisances of the young girls of the Nanda Maharaj kingdom, because when they chant the glories, I offer my obeisances into the dust of their lotus feet, and I bathe in the dust of their lotus feet, because when they chant the glories of Krishna, the sound of their chanting purifies the three worlds. Uddhava said that in the Bhagavatam. Then Uddhava said, when Krishna continually praised the gopis, I thought he was referring to the gopis in general, but now I understand that in his heart he was referring to Radha. She took the bee as Krishna's messenger, spoke to it using attractive words filled with the treasure of Mahabhav, which unsteadies the heart, and gave up hesitation in speaking to Uddhava, who became most astonished. So he understood actually everything Krishna had said, actually he was speaking about Radha. She was the epicenter of everything, and everything that the gopi feel, actually they're feeling that because of her, because they're associated with her, and because they are her close friend, they just became in the same way. They became like her. They share about her love, but that's her, the source of all this divine love. Which is true because they are emanation of Radha. They are bodily prolongation, Kaya Vyuha of Radharani. Uddhava, who is considered equal to Krishna, bowed to the gopis' foot dust. Saying that even Lakshmi couldn't compare to them. I offer respect to Radha, whose body is nectar for her lover, who is accompanied by the Chakra bird Krishna, and who is worshipped by all. Oh, there's a beautiful prayer. I never read that prayer. Then he says, please forgive me, O Radha, O Goddess, O wave of mercy. You're like a wave of mercy. We could say, tidal wave of mercy. Please forgive me for revealing your bewilderment caused by madness of prema while Krishna is listening. Poets generally have hard, proud minds, therefore they cannot understand shyness and suffering of others. They speak to reveal their cleverness. O Radhika, I have seen that you and Krishna have reached a state of madness with every statement in my description. Well, no, that's Nigdakanta and Madhukanta who are reciting the Gopal Shampoo, who are saying this. So we will not enter into that because it's too complicated. That we have to read the Gopal Shampoo. We're no more with Uddhava here. They come back to Snigdha Kanta and Madhukanta. Like when we come back to Naimisharanya after the story of the Bhagavatam, you know. So coming back to Uddhava. In this way Uddhava passed several months in Vraj. What Krishna spoke to Uddhava in Mathura, Uddhava spoke to the Gopi in Vraj. Krishna became personally present, constantly in Vraj, as part of his pastimes, and produced happiness during those months between Uddhava and the Gopis. So when Uddhava was there with the Gopis for several months, actually Krishna was there very particularly, very specially present, and all of them could feel that, and that produced very great happiness in all of them, the Gopis and Uddhava. Uddhava, seeing the symptoms of Krishna's 40, Krishna's internal presence in the people of Raj, informed them that this vision of Krishna they had within themselves was actually Krishna. It was not a vision, it was the real Krishna. Actually, the fact is that the Krishna who is in Mathura is not the full Krishna, the partial expansion of Krishna. The full original and real Krishna stayed in the heart of the Vrajavasi, and particularly in the heart of the Vrajagopi, particularly in the heart of Radha. And that person who went out to Mathura is Krishna, but an expansion of Krishna. Which expansion? He is Krishna who has left his heart inside Radha and his heart. So he's no more completely full now. Something like that. Very beautiful also. But he told them, who is inside your heart, this is the real Krishna. When they understood and believed this, then he thought of leaving. He thought, what can I do more than this if they understand that real Krishna is there in their heart? And that's good. This is what we say to pacify Radha or Krishna when they are not together. To reassure them, we're telling them actually Krishna is there within your heart. It's not imagination. He is really there within you. And when we can convince them of that, because it is true, the aspect of Krishna that lives externally is never the fullest aspect of Krishna. The fullest aspect of Krishna remains internally within Radha and his heart, and the Gopi's heart. So when they understood and believed this, first is they understood, and then you have to make them believe it sufficiently deeply, so that they will be able to remain with that belief when he goes. Otherwise, if it lasts only a few moments, like we saw just some verses before, it will not be very effective for a long time. So then he thought of leaving and meeting with them, politely ask for permission. And when Uddhava requested with utmost politeness, the Gopi responded with transformation, ecstatic transformation, such as fainting. They fainted. Remembering this, my life airs become immediately pulverized. Therefore, this scene cannot be fully described. This is what we must feel when we hear about all this Gita. We should feel that our life becomes pulverized. That means we're properly hearing. If we don't feel that, that means we're not really hearing. We're hearing, but our heart is not there fully with them. Our heart is still somewhere else in this material world, and we hear about this story, but we are not in the story. Hearing about a story means entering inside the story. It's very, very important. Entering with our heart completely inside the story, like when you go and you see a movie and it's so fascinating that you feel you're within the movie. When I was young, there was a movie for the kids that really marked me in my life. I mean, no, I don't remember about it, but when I was young, this movie really marked me. The name was The Story Without End. I don't know what's the English name because sometimes they change, but the literal translation was this, The Endless Story. It was the story of a little boy who discovered the book and he started to read that book in the attic of his school, something like that. And he started to read the book, which was a tale of a princess who was sick because she had no name or something like that, and of a young boy who was given the mission to find the name of the princess in order to save him. So that's a magic world, and he goes through so many beautiful things, very entertaining for the kids. It's such beautiful, very sweet story with beautiful feelings, and at the same time we have this cute little girl who is the princess and we want to save it. And then the boy reads and reads and reads and he just forgets about his school and the external world. He's becoming completely absorbed in the book. And at the end of the book, it happens that actually the only person who can give the princess a name is the boy who is reading the book. So like this, there is interaction, and then he enters into the story and has to go to the princess, I think. I don't remember exactly how it ended up, but he's the the main character of the book comes to him and picks him up and brings him to that magic world so that he can name the princess. And so when we hear a story, it must be like that. Our minds, our heart may, when we hear about Krishna, not about the material stories, otherwise we remain in this world. When we hear about Krishna, we have to really put our mind, our heart, and then when we hear about such profound subjects, we should feel that our life becomes pulverized by the beauty of that love and the sadness of that situation of separation. Still, I will reveal rather polite words as an indication, even though this same cannot be fully described. She said, "Oh, Uddhava, I do not speak so boldly about Krishna as you do. I am as hard as a thunderbolt, and he is soft as butter. O intelligent Uddhava, finally teach us how to give up affection for him, like an old piece of cloth gradually falling to pieces." That's what she asked. Okay, you're going, but I am not soft like you with polite words. My concluding word will be that finally teach us how to give up affection for him. Saying this and lamenting uncontrollably, she handed Uddhava a sealed letter expressing her words, though her hands were helpless. Between brackets, which I guess is the letter, the message: "Do not abandon the woman of Raj out of fear of defamation. The moon does not reject the spots of the moon that are shaped like a rabbit, called Shashi, which takes shelter of it. The moon does not reject the spots which take shelter of it. So do not abandon the woman of Raj just out of fear of defamation. Please don't do that. That's her letter. Very often they exchange very short message, maybe just this written on a leaf or something like that, or some few sentences written in a letter. What more should be said about separation which is beyond the intelligence? O Uddhava, what more can be taught to you who have all knowledge? Covering their faces with their clothes, they cried. Recovering, they followed Uddhava for a long way, embraced him, and gathering together, eventually returned to Raj. They had developed such a love for Uddhava. They followed him for a long way on the road to Mathura. And then they embraced him. Although for girls, this is uncommon, but what to do? They're in a world where there is nothing to lose and they don't really care anymore. And then they eventually return to Raj. On the other side, now we're going to Mathura. Desiring news from Raj, Krishna counted the days since Uddhava had left. He counted the days, the fortnights, and the months. To fulfill his desires and get a view of Raj, he climbed the watchtower and looked at the road. So there is a watchtower in Mathura, and Krishna climbs that watchtower and looked at the road in order to fulfill his desires. Suddenly he saw Uddhava approaching. He was overcome with anticipation. Following Uddhava for some distance, Krishna, taking him as the personification of Raj coming back, embraced him and brought him to a private place. First, he saw Uddhava's pleased face, and then he asked only about his health. After having him recover from the journey, he inquired from him. Krishna asked with compassion about the elders, his friends, his followers, and the cows, both together and then individually. He did not ask about his mother because tears rose and choked his throat. So what Uddhava reported to Krishna actually lasted for many days. He started the first day by narrating in brief what would be then told for many days to come. So it took many days for Uddhava to explain everything to Krishna. At last he said this: I solved half their problem by your influence. The other half will be resolved only by your going there. Mhm. That's what he said to Krishna. I could solve half of the problem, but I couldn't do the other half. The other half can be only done by you going there. So we'll stop here. This is how Gopal Champu end up relating Uddhava's visit to Vraj, and then we can see what is the intensity of these feelings. That brings us closer to the understanding of Krishna's heart. And that's what Mahaprabhu is all about. Mahaprabhu, through this pastime and through by revealing all this knowledge through Jiva Goswami, Rupa, Raghunath Das, and Sanatan, really Mahaprabhu is revealing in the word that was never ever spoken before, except the previous time that he came, which means in the previous day of Brahma, 8,640,000,000 years ago, which we can't even understand what it means because it's too big for us. So Mahaprabhu revealed that love, and Mahaprabhu wants to experience that love of the gopi. That's how Krishna loves the gopi. That's how Krishna loves Radha. He loved them so much that he wants to experience also every speck, every drop of the ocean of their love himself, like he is them also. And that's real love. Real love means we care for the other more, million times more than for ourselves, and our only desire is to make the other happy. But Krishna knows happiness means increasing love. That's the real happiness, the highest happiness that can be. It's the increase of love. So Krishna always goes in that direction, increasing prema, knowing that there is no end to that, and it will have to always become more beautiful and more intense and more sad at the same time, more sweet and more painful at the same time, because that's the way love increases. And it's not possible to stop beauty growing if it can, because the nature of love is that it has to burn everything like a forest fire. It has to grow further and further and further. It cannot be stopped, and there is no possibility of stopping. So these are the pastimes of Krishna. Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath Puri, and when he was in Puri, he was feeling all these feelings. Now we've been speaking for, I don't know, more than 3 hours, 4 hours about all these feelings that went through the heart of Radha and the gopis when they saw Uddhava. And Mahaprabhu was drowning in those feelings. And you see, it's not one feeling just like passive meditation. It's waves after waves of feelings becoming more and more beautiful. And even a former feeling could, in one sense, could come back, but when he would come back, even if he already had experience, so we see sometimes they come back to some previous statement they made, but then it becomes more beautiful because they went through something in between. So their love increased, so now they're coming back to the former state of mind, but with a new tinge. It has grown, it has become more beautiful. And by this, they also become physically more beautiful, because love and beauty are interconnected. So all the while when these pastimes happen, as the love grows, their beauty also grows at every second. And that's the beauty of Radha and Krishna's pastime, and the beauty of Mahaprabhu also is increasing endlessly at every moment. So we are so grateful that Srila Prabhupada came and gave us the chance to be caught in that river flow of a growing love. We just have to catch it. We just have to enter the river, and then we will be caught by the very powerful flow, and that will catch us and bring us all the way to the ocean of prema, where we will be lost in the waves of that ever-growing love. This is our future. This is what we have been made for, and now we are disconnected from that. So Prabhupada came to pick us up and to bring us into that most unlimited, beautiful reality, sweetful reality of constantly growing love and beauty. Radhani's eyes are most beautiful. If we can see, if we can look one day straight into her eyes, then we will understand everything. But her eyes are becoming more beautiful every second. So then we will be caught into another adventure. That's the adventure of the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna and of their growing love. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you very much, dear devotees.